And here we go. We are just 1 week away from the start of the NFL draft, the most exciting time of the year if you're a New York Jets fan. And on this episode, guys, this is a big one. We are going to break down the top 10 quarterbacks and the top 20 edge rushers, two premium positions at opposite ends of the spectrum. One's got a whole lot of talent, and one the cup is very, very dry. We're going to get into all of it tonight. Guys, you know the deal. It's Wednesday night. It's 7 p.m. and we are live. Well. Welcome, everybody, to New York Sports WickerMedia. I am your party host, Wa2K99, here for our weekly Wednesday Night Live extravaganza. I hope everybody is having a fantastic week. Just a quick reminder, if you're brand new, watching for the first time, I appreciate it. Welcome aboard. Please like, subscribe, and share the channel with a friend as we continue to grow. And we are pretty much going to get into this thing right here. So we're going to get to the football in a few minutes, but before we do that, I got a few things on my mind going on in the world of New York sports. So first of all, let's talk about what's on my mind in a segment that we like to call 3 and Out. First thing I need to talk about, oh my God, New York baseball. The Mets absolutely suck. They could not hit right now if the ball was on a tee and it was the size of a basketball. They are so horrendous. I've come to this conclusion. The Mets will probably always be my favorite team over all sports. I grew up going to Mets games nonstop, but I've come to this conclusion. When baseball's good, when it's exciting, it's amazing. When you root for a team like the Mets that absolutely can't get out of their own way, the game's over in 2.5 hours, and once they're down a run, you know the game is done. I got no time for it. That's pretty much where I am. I've always been against the people who say, oh, baseball's boring. I've never felt that way. I will say this. Bad baseball is boring. I can absolutely acknowledge that. Now, the only hope right now for the New York Mets is that Danhausen has uncursed them. If you know, you know. If you're not a wrestling fan, you have what are you talking about? Yes, so if Danhausen has now uncursed them, there actually might be some hope in Flushing. And as far as the Yankees go, yeah, they lost 5 straight over the weekend. But you know what? We know they'll be fine. They always are. As far as hockey goes, well, the Islanders and Devils, their seasons are over. We knew for a while the Devils were not making the playoffs, and the Islanders fall apart at the end of the season. They will not make the playoffs. The Rangers season, it ends tonight in Tampa Bay. And it's amazing to think that those 3 teams take up the bottom 3 spots in the Metropolitan Division. No New York area teams in the playoffs. Don't talk to me about Buffalo. That's really Canada. We know what the deal is. So this is not going to be the most exciting Stanley Cup playoffs tournament in history. You know, a lot of marquee franchises are not there. I would say this. I am going to pick right now, if I had to give you a finals prediction, Carolina against Dallas. Not just because I live 3 miles from where the Hurricanes play their home games. And I can pretty much, if I listen closely enough, I can pretty much hear the tailgates certain nights if I really try to listen. But or put it this way, you can see fireworks on certain nights. But I just think those are the two best. But here's the funny thing. The 2 best teams rarely get to the finals. But Florida is now out. The 2-time defending Cup champions are history. So it's really wide open in the Eastern Conference. Toronto's not there. Not that they ever get very far anyway, but they have a lot of talent. It's just a crazy, crazy time. And you know what? The NHL loves it because they love parity. They're all about it. And I will say this. Credit to the NHL for one thing. None of their playoff games are on streaming services exclusively. Speaking of that, let's talk about the NBA, shall we? Playoff time is here. The New York Knicks begin their playoff march on Saturday night, hosting the Atlanta Hawks. I look forward very much to watching the game on NBC. I'm sorry. I look forward to watching the game on ESPN. No, that's not right. I look forward to watching the game on TNT. No, it's not that. TBS, no. ABC, no. Oh, that's right. The only place you can watch this game is on Prime. Only Prime. Game 3, same story. Not even a local option here, guys. And again, I live in North Carolina. I don't get local coverage regardless. But even if you live in Manhattan, in Brooklyn, in New Jersey, Alpharetta, Peachtree, whatever neighborhoods there are in Atlanta as well, it's either you go to the game, you stream, or you're going out. Those are your only 3 options. That's it. And that is just ridiculous. I mean, you want to screw the fan who's out of market. I get that, but you're screwing the local fans? Oh my God. Gary Bettman, Adam Silver. There's the levels of commissioner for you. You talk about selfish and greedy. I haven't really knocked Adam Silver a ton in the past, but if he okayed this multiple exclusive playoff games on streaming platforms, I got a major problem. And don't talk to me that Prime's got more customers than ESPN, because I'm not buying it. Anyway, as far as how the series goes, I've already done a preview video for that. You can check that out if you would like. And also, if you're a wrestling fan, WrestleMania is coming up this weekend. I am looking forward to that Saturday and Sunday. People, why do you still watch wrestling? You know why? It's a great escape from reality, and in this world, we all need an escape. And I can think of far less healthy ways to escape than watching pro wrestling. So I'm looking forward to that. I did about a 20-minute preview video breaking down each match. You can check that out too if you are so interested. Let's say hello to the great David D. How you doing, my man? Yeah, we're both watching the hockey playoffs from our couches, if we are even turning them on. Yes, hail to you as well. I'm glad that you are here. Glad that I see we got a few people hanging out in the chat as well. Feel free to leave a comment, leave a question, or if you just like to watch, if I'm just your background noise for the evening, I take no offense. I really don't. So I do appreciate it. Let's get rid of the 3 and out. And guys, it is that time to get into the main event of the evening. You know why we're here. You know what we're here to talk about. And it is a big night. It is a big week coming up because the NFL draft is here. Didn't that just get you going just a little bit? It's like, oh, what's going on? It's like the hairs on your neck stand up just a little bit, the slightest goosebump because you don't know what's about to happen. Let's try it again. It's about the most exciting noise that you can hear, sadly enough. All right, in all seriousness, guys, let's talk a little New York Jets football. Let me hear it. Jets, Jets. Let's break down a little bit of quick news. Not a ton of news to talk about right now. Just about everything right now is speculation about what the Jets will do and they won't do. Well, I have a policy. I don't speculate on speculation. Okay, but I do want to mention a couple of things. The first, on a very sad note, I did want to spend one moment here on Browning Nagel, the former Jets quarterback, passed away a week ago at the age of 57 to colon cancer. Guys, get checked. Ladies, get checked too. So I just wanted to give him a quick moment. Nagel was a second-round pick by the Jets in 1991. Spent his first year on the bench, became starter in 1992, went 3-10, 7 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, replaced by Boomer Esiason in 1993, was released in 94, went to the Colts and Falcons. Nagel was always linked with Brett Favre. The Jets did not have their first-round pick in 1991, and they had every intention of drafting Brett Favre to play quarterback. Ultimately, they opted for Nagel because the Jets couldn't pull off the trade and to move ahead of Atlanta, and the Falcons wind up taking Favre at spot 33 overall, and then with the next pick, the Jets settle for Browning Nagel. Slight difference there in careers. But hey, Nagel was a good college quarterback at Louisville. 451 yards, 3 touchdowns against Alabama in the Fiesta Bowl. But went on to the Arena League, played for the Orlando Predators, the Buffalo Destroyers, threw 74 touchdowns in 2 seasons. So, you know, if you hear about AAA players in baseball or quadruple A players in baseball, dominate the minors but never quite make it in the majors, and Browning Nagel was like a quadruple A quarterback. That's really the best way to say it. So Browning Nagel, all the best to you and your family. We wish you well. Rest easy. All right, so to some current news, I want to spend a minute here on Kenny Moore, the Colts nickel cornerback. Now, why am I bringing up Kenny Moore on the show? I'll tell you exactly why. The Colts have already traded several core players. They traded Michael Pittman. They traded Zaire Franklin. Anthony Richardson, the 4th overall pick, has been granted permission to seek a trade, although I find it very hard to believe that he is actually going to go somewhere for anything more than maybe a 6th-round pick. I hope he doesn't go anywhere because he's taking up a lot of cap space for the Colts. There is a belief that Kenny Moore is seeking a trade. The Colts have added Sauce Gardner, Charvarius Ward, and I don't think they want to pay too much more money to their cornerback room. Moore's got a year left on his contract, and it wasn't that long ago. He and Michael Carter II were really the 2 top-rated slot corners in the NFL, like 2 years ago. And it's funny how these things change so quickly. You know, Carter fell out of favor. He got traded to Philadelphia. And now Kenny Moore looks like he's on his way out of Indianapolis. And to which I say, keep trading him off. We know the Jets have that Indianapolis 1st-round pick in 2027. And the more talent they ship out the door, the better that pick could potentially get for the New York Jets. So to me, yes, it's news. All right. A couple of other things that I'm going to mention, just kind of some random things here. So there has been a recent belief that the Cowboys, who have picks at number 12 and number 20, are looking to trade up. Would they try to get up to number 2, or they're going to have to give up a lot more than just those 2 picks to get number 2 away from the Jets? And the fact is, Dallas apparently is targeting a player the Giants also covet. I'm willing to bet that is either Jeremiah Love or Sonny Styles. Getting ahead of the Giants would be a huge deal if the price makes sense. So it might take trading up with the Jets, but you know what? If that means the Cowboys got to trade their other 1st-round pick to the Jets next year, and the Jets have 4 1st-round picks in 2027, plus give us number 12, number 20, and now in the 1st round, the Jets this year have picks 12, 16, and 20, you got my attention with that one. You got my attention. May not be as high level of draft. Yeah, you're losing out on Arvell Reese or David Bailey, but you are picking up several very, very good players potentially. So I don't know if the Jets would actually make that trade, but it is very interesting because that's what we've always been talking about. You know, there are certain people who every year want to trade down in the draft and accumulate more picks. The problem is you need somebody who's willing to come up. And there isn't necessarily that top level, elite level talent, especially at the quarterback position, that you can imagine teams wanting to come up and acquire. You know, we know the Raiders are not trading out of number 1. They're drafting Fernando Mendoza. But is there a player, a Reese, a Bailey, a Love, a Styles, a Carnell Tate, that a team would be willing to go up to number 2 to get? A Caleb Downs, same thing. It really bears watching. All right, so a couple of things that we're going to mention here, and I want to talk about top 30 visits for a second. But today is actually an important deadline. Today was the Draft Prospect Facility Visit deadline, April 15th. So by this point, all teams need to conclude all their pre-draft visits, all their testing, their interviews. All of that needs to be done. So by now, they better have their board stacked. They have to have a good feel about the players that they, are going to be targeting in every single round. And important to note, this deadline is only for testing and interviewing at the team facility. So the Jets can't bring in any more prospects into Florham Park. All right. So then I wanted to mention the top 30 visits. Now, the thing with the top 30 visits, so basically you could bring in 30 players in. Okay, that's basically the limit. You can meet with players nonstop at the Combine, at the Senior Bowl. You could do all of these things if you want, but there's only 30 of these interviews they could do. And from what I could find, the Jets have not done a ton of these top 30 interviews. Very, very interesting. But I wanted to run through a couple of names. And these are the players that they've been looking at. Running back, 2 running backs. Kalen Black from Indiana. A lot of teams are interested in him as a late-round pick. Nicholas Singleton, the running back from Penn State. And they've brought in 3 wide receivers. Denzel Boston from Washington, expected to go in the 1st round. Omar Cooper, who's rising up the boards almost too quickly for my liking, if I'm being honest. And Trebor Pena, the wide receiver from Penn State. 1 offensive lineman only, Tristan Lay, the offensive tackle from Clemson. Tyre West, defensive end, Tennessee. They brought in 3 edges. Okay, now this is where it's going to get a little tricky, so there's going to be a little asterisk here. But they brought in Arvell Reese, Zion Young, and David Bailey. So we were told. All right. And then Khalil Jacobs from the linebacker from Missouri. But then Wednesday night, Connor Hughes reports around 6:15, the Jets scheduled the top 30 visit for David Bailey, but they canceled it. And now people are wondering, oh, what's this all about? Does that mean that they know they want him? Does it know that they mean they want Arvell Reese? I think it's a pretty good indication that they know that they want someone, one of the two. But they have brought in Arvell Reese, and if they're not bringing in David Bailey, you can interpret that either way. You really, really could. I do find it very interesting. But it tells me that they've done their homework. We don't know if they've done the homework the right way, but I think we can have the confidence that they know what direction they're going to go with that number 2 pick. I still believe it's going to be Arvell Reese, and we're going to talk about him tonight. We're going to talk about David Bailey tonight as we get into the edge rushers in just a little bit. Oh, just a little side note. I have to do a little bit of special teams talk, right? So, yeah, because, I'm a fan of their coach, Chris Banjo. This. When your job's such a pain in the ass, the banjo makes you feel better. All right, I needed an excuse to play the banjo tonight. So, hey Rusty, hey Rusty, how you doing, buddy? No, Jets didn't bring in Sonny Styles. They may have met with him, but they didn't bring him in per se. So, but I'm pretty sure they've at least had a convo with him. But the Jets have had one formal interview with a kicker in the whole draft cycle, and that kicker is Drew Stevens from Iowa, and I'm good with that. He was my number 2 kicker behind Trey Smack. So if anyone, Rusty, I will tell you this. I think there's a number of good linebackers available, not just Sonny Styles. If the Jets leave that draft with Jacob Rodriguez, they've taken it, say, number 33. Oh, I will be happy. Even CJ Allen, I'd be good with it. As good as Sonny Styles is, it's not like the linebacker class is the quarterback class. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Sonny Styles, no question about it. But it's not as if they don't bring him in, they can't get another outstanding linebacker. So, but I do want to see them bring someone in. Okay, guys, so let's get into some draft breakdowns right now. By the way, we got quite a few people here in the chat. I definitely appreciate it. Hope everybody's having a good Wednesday. Tony Alexio, draft the Aller package 4th round. All right, well, we're going to get into that. And I'm doing my top 10 quarterbacks in the 2026 draft. Make sure to check the bottom of the slide, not counting Fernando Mendoza, because let's be honest, what's the point in even talking about Fernando Mendoza, right? We know the Jets are not going to have a chance at him. We know he's going number 1 overall. So I'm giving you my top 10s outside of Fernando Mendoza. But I'm going to do you all a solid and give you 2 honorable mentions. And there's a reason I'm including these particular quarterbacks. So one honorable mention is Baron Morton from Texas Tech. In the upper left, I'm giving you the 2025 stats for these quarterbacks as well. Okay, so the Jets have already met with Baron Morton. Okay, so they are doing their homework on him. Should I move myself down in here? Yeah, that's fine. I want to make sure that you can see all the numbers well. So yeah, let's just do that. Okay, so the Jets have met with him. So the thing with Morton, he will give you good accuracy in the short to intermediate range. He can throw the ball well into tight windows, especially over the middle of the field. And he uses different arm angles, puts nice touch on his throws. He can extend plays well. All of that is very good. But he doesn't really have the high-end arm strength you would want, and he's had some durability problems. He has been injured a bit, and his accuracy is good short to middle range. But when you get to about 25, 30 yards down the field, it starts to fall off a little bit. And that's why I think Morton has kind of a low ceiling as a backup, possible spot starter. But if he could keep refining his accuracy, I think he could carve out at least a respectable career. I don't think he's going to get drafted. If he does, I would say 7th round. So Baron Morton is one honorable mention. And I got to talk about Diego Pavia. Now, I am not a fan of him. I have not made a secret of that. Obviously, he's an exciting player to some extent. I mean, look at the stats. 267 for 378, 3,539 yards, 29 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Very, very good numbers. Now, he averaged 8.8 yards per dropback or per pass play. That's the highest in the FBS because he makes explosive plays happen with his arms. And outside the pocket, he's fantastic. He will drive defenses to have to take, like ibuprofen, all right, for some headaches. Pavia has he has a chip on his shoulder the size of an aircraft carrier. Okay, a complete me against the world mentality. He plays the game on edge. He plays with no fear, and I do like that for New York because you need to have a little bit of FU in you, I think, if you're going to play quarterback for the New York Jets. Has a good amount of poise, plays well against good opponents. So he's a fairly accurate passer, and his running style is pretty gritty. But on field, his processing is not quite NFL caliber. His arm strength is not quite where you would want it. And the athleticism that worked well in college, questionable if it's going to translate against the pros. Okay. Also, he tends to bail a little bit early from the pocket. He has to learn when to stay in the pocket and when to run. He has the mobility, the toughness, and quick game mindset to function, but there's still too many red flags. But the biggest red flag is his attitude. He was nominated for the Heisman. He didn't win, and he and his entourage basically acted like jerks. I don't need to show the video, but I thought he showed a complete lack of maturity, and I'm not into that. I don't want that with my quarterback. If he's your leader, if your quarterback is your leader, I need a better leader than that. He's got to grow up. And I'm sorry, I don't have time for him to grow up here with our team. So I've got a round 7 grade on Pavia. If you were just looking at the talent, I could take it up to maybe a 5th round pick, maybe. But yeah, there's many quarterbacks I would take over him. So number 10 is Joe Fagnano from UConn. That's right. We got a player from UConn on this list. And I want to spend a minute on this player because this is one of the more intriguing quarterback prospects in this draft. So his numbers for the year, 285 completions, 413 attempts, 3,448 yards. Check this out, 27 touchdowns and 1 measly interception. That's a pretty dang good name. Now, let's think about this. If you were to think about what makes a quarterback that Frank Reich would like, what would you be thinking of? Well, I would be thinking of a big prototypical pocket passer with good timing, good accuracy, good anticipation, low turnover rate, and gets the ball down the field efficiently. A good arm, maybe not the most elite arm in the world, but you can live with that because, Frank Reich likes to run a lot of intermediate passes, that 10 to 20-yard range. Well, Fagnano really might tick every single box that I just mentioned. Okay, and if the Jets are in a situation where they're looking to draft their quarterback savior in 2027, this might be a good choice. So Fagnano has spent 7 years playing college football. 7 years. He started at Maine in 2019, moved to Connecticut in 2023. Now he's elected for the draft. 2025 completed 69% of his passes. By the way, that's with 22 drop passes. So if you adjust the completion percentage, he's really completed about 78% of his passes. Even better. Now, it does help that a lot of his throws went behind the line of scrimmage. Okay, but still only a 1.7% turnover-worthy play rate. Okay, and 14 of his touchdowns came on throws between 10 and 20 yards. So again, that intermediate type of quarterback. He's not going to give you the best arm strength. If you're looking for somebody who's going to make plays off script, throw the ball 50 yards down the field, he's not going to give you that. Doesn't give you the greatest mobility either. But he distributes the ball very well, very efficiently, works through his progressions, knows how to read the whole field. So I like that. Okay, so he could run a little bit if he absolutely needs to. I'm not saying Fagnano has the highest ceiling, but if what you're looking for is a good backup, a smart player, a reliable player that can spot start when the eventual starter gets hurt, knowing the Jets, that's quite often, I could see him carving out a 10-year career, a 5 to 10-year career. I'll give you that because he's a little older. 5 to 10-year quarterback as a backup. But again, good processing, decisive throwing, smart decisions. Okay, can navigate the pocket pretty well. I think Joe Fagnano would not fit everywhere, but he might just fit. And with these late picks the Jets have, he might be a fit round 7. So Joe Fagnano is my number 10 quarterback. That's right, ahead of Diego Pavia and Baron Morton. The great Scott Foster, how you doing, man? Yep, cheers to you. Took down a Yingling when I got home from work. With this job, it's a miracle I don't drink every night. I'll tell you that much. But It is what it is. Not complaining about it. Just some things in life, just like Aaron Rodgers with the Jets, they don't turn out to be all we hope they would be, and then, you look for ways to move on. And that's pretty much the situation here that I'm facing. But, that's okay. Let's keep going. Number 9 is Sawyer Robinson from Baylor University. Completed 304 passes out of 504, 3,681 yards in 2025, 31 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 6'4", 220 pounds. By the way, Fignano is 6'4", 225. I didn't mention that. So Fignano's got some good size, if I didn't mention that. So Robertson finished his college career with back-to-back 3,000-yard passing seasons. This year had his best season with the stats that he put up there. He really likes to throw the ball down the field. He has 26 completions of 20-plus air yards. That's 12th most in the FBS. He's a very quick decision maker, which I like. Gets the ball out quickly. I like that too. And he is willing to throw to pretty much any receiver. He doesn't really lock into one receiver, which is good. I feel like we've seen too many receivers, quarterbacks with the Jets who have done that. Now, his mechanics, little wonky. His shoulders sometimes get out of alignment at times. He's made some mistakes late in games. Sometimes he will attempt to throw passes that his arm doesn't quite have the juice to make. So, and the other thing I mentioned late games, he threw 6 interceptions in the fourth quarter this year. That's not quite good. What's that from? Underthrown passes, misreading underneath coverages. Those are really his biggest issues. But he gives you some good physical talent, some good mental toughness. As a safety blanket, that could work out. So Sawyer Robertson is my number 9. Let's go to number 8. And I've got somebody ranked here that a lot of people have ranked in their top 3 or top 4. I got him a little bit lower, and it's Taylon Green from Arkansas. By the way, if we have any people here from Arkansas in the chat, glad that you're here. 6'6", 227 pounds. So Green became the starter for the Razorbacks after transferring from Boise State. So last year, 198 for 329, 2,714 yards, 19 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 771 rushing yards, 12th most among quarterbacks, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Now, he killed the combine. Much respect there. He ran a 4.36 40-yard dash. That's crazy. 43.5-inch vertical jump and 11 foot 2 inches in the 11 foot 2 feet 2 inches in the broad jump. So a great athlete who can run. Also in Arkansas, who's his offensive coordinator? Bobby Petrino. Not the best human being in the world, but they ran pro concepts in Arkansas. So it might be a quicker transition for Green. So he can throw the ball, with good pace, with good touch. He's good on designed rollouts, can throw the ball hard when he needs to. Here's the thing. His field vision, his accuracy, those are risks. He's been a starter for 4 years, and he's still struggling. And one of the things that worries me the most, I think about Zach Wilson with this, is time to throw. He averaged 3.13 seconds from snap to release. Out of 138 quarterbacks, that's 134th. That is terrible. Absolutely terrible. And that's when you're relying on your offensive line to, hold off the pass rush even longer than they should need to. And also, he struggles facing pressure. All 27 times he was sacked last season came against true pass pressure. And in those situations, he completed under 39% of his passes. I think this is a high ceiling, low floor prospect who needs elite level coaching. And I wouldn't want to put him on the field just yet. Okay, his mechanics need help. His mindset needs help, but the physical tools are fantastic. So I would go round 6 on him. I really wouldn't go any higher. I just think the bust factor is too high with Taylon Green. Number 7, Cade Klubnik from Clemson University, 6'2", 210 pounds, 257 for 394, 2,946 yards, 16 touchdowns, 6 INTs. Scott Foster is not telling any lies when he says this. Petrino is a weasel. Absolutely. All right, so 12 months ago, Klubnik was in a lot of projectors' top 3 college quarterbacks. He was very well thought of. He's fallen off quite a bit this last year, which is a common theme in this class, I'd like to say. So Klubnik, he can be very hot, very cold. He's like a streaky 3-point shooter in basketball. Now, he has a very clean release that allows him to distribute the ball very efficiently to all his different targets because Clemson likes to run a lot of short passes and get yards after the catch. So he was good at that. Also, he could run a little bit when he's forced to brace the pocket. I think best case, he's Bo Nix. A very good point guard style passer with very good athleticism, good at throwing off balance. Great, throws through all kinds of arm angles. He could throw over the top, sidearm. He could do any of that for you. But there are issues with his anticipation, with his field vision, his situational accuracy. Took a step back in 2025. Here's another issue with Klubnik. He doesn't play well in the cold. Look at the Pinstripe Bowl against Penn State when Clemson got beaten down pretty well. Klubnik had a bad game. So while he is smart, he makes good decisions. I don't see an upper-level trait that leads me to think Cade Klubnik will be a truly successful starting quarterback in the NFL. Phil Simms said it himself. I trust Phil Simms when it comes to this stuff. Can he make special throws? He can make good ones. Can he make the special ones when he needs to do it? So I'm going round 6 for Cade Klubnik. All right. Oh, number 6. There we go. Luke Altmaier from Illinois, 6'2", 215 pounds. From the University of Illinois, 244 out of 365, 2,994 yards, 22 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. This is like a better version of Klubnik. Again, the point guard approach, gets the ball out fast, processes the play very well, reads defenses very, very efficiently, very, very smart, can identify breakdowns or holes in defenses, and his 8.0 off-target passing percentage was the 8th lowest in the FBS. Very accurate thrower, has some mobility, can escape pressure when you need to, had a very good Senior Bowl. Very good Senior Bowl. Kept the offense on schedule, kept the offense in good rhythm, was able to make plays outside the pocket, was able to escape the pocket. I don't know if he has a lot of plus traits. He isn't going to overwhelm you with top-level stats. His size is pretty average at 6'2", 215. His arm strength is, okay. It's okay. It's I is what it is. It's I. And the other thing, his hand size, 9-inch hands. That is Kenny Pickett-esque. Not a dynamic creator, not the greatest anticipator, but again, good pre-snap, post-snap vision, accurate enough, decent enough thrower. He can play a little bit for you if you need to. I'm going to put a round 5 grade on Luke Altmaier. All right, let's go to number 5, Cole Payton from North Dakota State. I've seen ESPN mocking him to the Jets a couple of times as a very good fit for their system. Well, Cole Payton, 6'3", 233 pounds, completed 161 out of 226 passes. Pretty good. 2,719 yards, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions playing at North Dakota State. All right, so he also ran, by the way, 717 yards and ran for 13 touchdowns. So he can move, left-handed. Phil Simms described him as a bigger Tim Tebow, which would make you a little bit nervous, but he can throw a little bit better than that. All right, ran a 4.540, excellent runner. This is a strong dual threat option. And with his frame, he can make throws from the pocket. He can make throws on the run, is able to withstand big hits from defenders while still throwing accurately. Excellent downfield passer, has a strong base, very good touch. He can deliver those drop-in-the-bucket passes for you if you want him to. Okay, and if you want to design quarterback runs with him, short yardage situations with him, it'll work. He has good vision. He's willing to fight through hits, shrug off tacklers. And during Senior Bowl week, he may have been the most consistent passer. Executing progressions, putting throws short, medium, long, he did very well. But here's the thing. Lack of experience. He is a one-year starter. You hear the critics of Ty Simpson talk about, well, he's only got 15 starts. Cole Payton's only got 13 starts. Okay? So he's sorely lacking in in-game reps. So his processing is not quite where you want it yet. And he's got this full circle throwing motion that includes sort of loopy, long mechanics. So he's got to rely less on his upper body to generate power. So his lower body stiffness, that has to be resolved a little bit. So learning to generate more power with his legs, that can be coached, but that's something that I want to see. And his pocket awareness, over just where he is in the pocket, feeling the pass rush, he needs to get better at that. So I see a very good raw athlete in Cole Payton that could become a very good quarterback with some pretty good coaching. So I think he's a pretty good quarterback. I would go round 5, maybe late round 4 with Cole Payton. All right, number 4, I've got Carson Beck from Miami University. So 6'4", 220 pounds. He's been broken down by a lot of people. ESPN says Beck is a top fit. It depends who you talk to. But ESPN says the Jets would be a perfect fit for Beck. Well, here's what I would tell you. 338 out of 469, 3,813 yards, 30 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. This is a rhythmic passer who needs to keep playing on beat. Okay, now the thing with Beck, he really was at his best at Miami when he had elite playmakers and an elite offensive line. He wants to methodically dissect and break down defenses. Okay, Scott, I don't blame you. This list of quarterbacks is not doing much. It's not doing much for anybody. There's a reason on NFL.com, quarterback is the worst ranked position. But that's why I did this first, and we're saving edge rusher for later. Okay, so yeah, this is why I did that. It was all by design. Now, his game is all about accuracy and decisiveness. So he gets the ball out quickly. His adjusted completion percentage last year was 74.8%, 8th highest among all FBS passers. What worries me is a number of things. His right arm, he had surgery to repair the UCL in his right arm after the 2025 season. His arm strength has simply never been the same. Arm strength used to be a strength of his. Now it's a weakness. It really is. And that puts a big limitation on his overall progression here. He can process well, no doubt about that. But even as a pocket passer, now and then he gets a little bit reckless. Like he thinks his arm is better than it is. Like he acts like his arm is still from 4 years ago. All right. The problem is he's about as mobile as an oak tree. Okay. And the other issue, like I said, he's very reliant on good infrastructure. The Miami offensive line, big for him. Beck only faced a 17% pressure rate. That was the lowest in FBS. What's he going to do when he has an offensive line that isn't that good? He got an average of 2.9 seconds to throw the ball. Is he going to have that in the pros? So I would put Carson Beck. I'd give him around 4 grade, but I would not lean towards him becoming a legitimately good starting quarterback. Number 3, Drew Aller. Here you go, Tony. 6'5", 235 pounds, came in as a top 3 quarterback. It didn't go so great for him in 2025. He suffered a broken left ankle against Northwestern, was sidelined for the season. Prior to that injury, completed 103 out of 159, 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Now, as a starter, fantastic record, 26 wins, 9 losses, led Penn State to the playoff semifinals in 2024, showed that he can command very, very well, can process defenses well. All of that is good. He will give you the size and arm strength that you would want. Okay. I would say as an intermediate passer, he's good. He isn't afraid to test tight windows. He will exhaust his progressions, deliver to the right target. He's got enough arm strength to succeed in the NFL. He also has enough mobility to navigate the pocket and gain the yardage that he can get. The flaws with him, there's a couple of things. The accuracy can be very hot. It can be very cold. His release mechanics are just too inconsistent. And ever since he hurt his ankle, that broken ankle, the footwork, I don't know how good the footwork is. It wasn't great before. I don't know if it's going to be great now. He's not someone who can be enough of a rushing threat to get his way out of bad situations. Then again, a lot of people felt that way about Ben Roethlisberger, and he was able to do that. So one assistant general manager in the AFC said this: the biggest issue is that Aller looks good against the low and middle tier teams, but he just hasn't had that signature performance anytime that he plays against the elite ones. I think Aller has a little bit of a higher floor than most of these quarterbacks do. He could use a little bit of development. Let's see how it turns out. I've heard the Christian Hackenberg comparison. I think that's a little bit rough. I do have a decent feel about Drew Aller, and if the Jets were to draft him in the 4th round, I'd be game. I'd be okay with that. Reich will fix his footwork. Hey, Reich, Musgrave. Hey, anyway, I don't care if it's the backup water boy. All of that would work for me. All right, number 2 is Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, 6'2", 200 pounds. Completed 194 out of 288, 1,921 yards, 12 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He had a great 2024 season. Over 4,000 passing yards and 29 touchdowns. Not so good in 2025. Dealt with a lot of injuries in 25, patellar tendonitis in his knee, looked very, very good at the Senior Bowl, and that's really put him towards the front of that second quarterback tier. Now, Nussmeier is the son of a longtime coach. He operates from the pocket, fearless, fearless, fearless. This is your gunslinger, okay? Gets the ball out fast, 2.58 seconds on average. I love that. He throws accurately to spots in the intermediate game, and he anticipates his receivers very well. Flexible arm, he can switch that arm slot up on you, throw sidearm, throw over the top, navigates the pocket very well. He probably has the best escapability of any quarterback in this class. So the gamer mentality, I love that. Now, he doesn't have a big frame, but he's not afraid to stand in the pocket also. All right. Very advanced processor. Like we said, what worries me, doesn't have the greatest athleticism, and his arm is kind of middling. All right. So short passes, sometimes he threw a lot of short passes. So at LSU, he only averaged 6.4 air yards per target. That's just 130th in the FBS. So I'm not saying he can't throw deep, but I am saying he didn't have as much of an opportunity to throw deep. Okay. And his hands, they're tiny, under 9 inches. So even smaller than Kenny Pickett. So that could leave him prone to fumbles as well. But I love the mindset, and that does go a long way. And number 1 for me is going to be Ty Simpson. I do have a round 2 grade on him, but I would put him a tick above the other 2 quarterbacks. 6'2", 208 pounds, completed 306 passes out of 474, 3,561 yards, 28 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Another son of a longtime coach. And Ty Simpson, very, very smart, has great football IQ, very, very aware, frequently knows how to alter protections, how to switch plays up. And considering he's only had those 15 career starts, which a lot of people talk about, he's still very good at recognizing defenses. I think with intermediate throws, his arm will be strong enough. And even though he's only 6'2", he does have a high release, and that kind of helps to nullify the height issue. But one of the best things that Simpson gives you is his mechanics. He has some of the cleanest throwing form in the class, very good footwork, consistent hip torque, and he's shown that he can discern coverage quite well, can make plays outside of the pocket if he needs to. So he had 30 touchdowns last year, 28 passing, 2 rushing. 7 came when he was outside the pocket. So I do like that. Now, I would say this. Sometimes he extends plays a little bit too long. There's times he could stand to throw the ball away or to slide. I think he needs to work on that. And the fact that he doesn't have elite deep ball arm strength, that can show up. And in the big spots, if you ever need to get the ball way downfield, you want a big arm, especially in MetLife Stadium. You know, if you're playing on the road in Buffalo and New England, those types of towns, you need that. So I would like Simpson to get a little bit better with this play recognition, because rather than him losing yardage with negative plays that could have been avoiding by running out of bounds or throwing the ball out of bounds. And tough losses to Oklahoma and Indiana, those games exposed Simpson's biggest issues. And even though he won some games later in the year, he was just a little more inconsistent than people desire. I could see a decent starter here. I don't know about a franchise changer, but I could see somebody who can compete for a starting job. So I've got a round 2 grade on Ty Simpson. If you were to ask there we go. Let's go ahead and remove that. If you were to say, where would you want to draft Ty Simpson? I would not draft him in the first round. Because here's the thing. The 5th-year option, I think it's a little bit too big of a deal because here's the thing. If you like a player enough, you are going to sign him regardless of that 5th-year option. If he's good enough, you will sign him. So that 5th-year option, first-round picks get, whether it's 32 or 33, doesn't make a huge difference to me. But if the Jets were to take him at 33, I'd be like, oh, okay. I can't say I would love it, but I'm like, all right, here we go. But the biggest issue with the Jets doing that would be that I still think he needs some development time. And I don't know if you're going to get a good enough read on him in 1 year to know if he is your future. And in a situation next year where the Jets have all these top-level picks, they need to know what they're dealing with. So I don't think it makes a lot of sense for the Jets to get to. I've seen Simpson go anywhere from 16 to about 40, 45. It's crazy. It's going to be one of the biggest stories of the draft night. Now, it's not going to be like Shedeur Sanders when he just kept dropping and dropping and dropping. but it's going to be very interesting to see how far Simpson really goes. And if he makes it out in the first round, will there be a team that calls up trying to move up to get him? Like Arizona, the Rams, those are the other two teams I've seen most often connected with Ty Simpson. It's going to be a very, very interesting storyline. Okay, guys, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to switch things up just a little bit. We're going to do the edge rushers in a moment, but just to break things up a little bit, how about we do the trivia right now? Yeah, I know it's a little early. It's like, 7:45 right now. But just to break it up, before we get right back into analysis, let's just have a little fun. And why don't we just do the trivia right now? So, guys, every week, you know what happens, right? I bust open the books. I dust off the Glenn Cyclopedia Britannica. I pull up the Jets' dark web. And I, Watsu K99, challenge you, the most loyal fans of the most loyal fan base in the National Football League. Just how much do you know about your New York Jets? So if you are ready, let's play Jets trivia. All right, so we're going to do that right now. And I wanted to do a question sort of like in honor of Browning Nagel. Yep, Scott, I'll come back. Scott, I'll come back to you. So we're going to go ahead and do sort of like a Browning Nagel sort of tribute question here. So I'm going to put 5 minutes on the clock. If you have an answer, pop it right down there in the comments, and I will let you know if you are correct. So your question tonight goes like this. What Jets draft pick from Louisville, because Browning Nagel went to Louisville, played the most career games in the NFL regardless of team? So of all the players the Jets have drafted from Louisville, they've drafted about 6 to 8 players from Louisville. Which one played the most career games in the NFL? So we'll do this, and then we will get back to the draft projections, and we will talk about edge rushers. I got 20 edge rushers to talk to you about. 20. That's how deep this class is, guys. So Scott, to answer, wait till next year for a quarterback. I think the Jets really should draft one on day 3. I have a number. Yep, Scott had to be a Jet. Yes, this is not like the Jets drafted him and immediately cut him or trade. Yeah. Had to be a Jet. I'm just saying not all the games had to be as Jets. So, yeah, but I am very much with the late round picks they have. I am all for drafting one of those mid round quarterbacks. If they can get Drew Aller in the 4th round, why not? Why not? I mean, right now, what do the Jets have? Geno Smith and Bailey Zappi? Do they have anybody else? Oh, Brady Cook. Yeah, if you even want to count him. I mean, please. So I just don't feel – I just don't have the feel for spending a premium pick on a quarterback this year. I mean, if Ty Simpson were to drop the 44, then I guess I would consider it depending on how the board goes. But you know what? There's just so many other players that I like more than him. I can't get with it. I just can't. I'm fine drafting one day 3. But especially with some of these edge rushers, with some of the grades I got on those players, I want to make sure the Jets get one of them. All right, so a Jets draft pick that played at Louisville, that played a lot of games in the NFL. Who is it? I'll give you one clue. I'll give you somebody who it's not. This guy came in 2nd place, and it's Bilal Powell. Bilal Powell went to Louisville, played 109 career games in the NFL, all with the Jets. This other player didn't play his whole career with the Jets, but he played 118 career games, and a good number of them with the Jets. So Bilal Powell is 2nd. Obviously, Browning Nagel is not number 1, but who is number 1? Got 2.5 minutes to go. And the Rangers lead 1-0. John Eric Sullivan says that Devon Achane is not available for a trade. They're looking to sign him. Well, it's nice to know they're signing somebody. All right. Scott Foster goes with Kerry Rhodes. Is it Kerry Rhodes? It sure is. Very good, Scott. Kerry Rhodes played 118 games in the NFL. So, guys, everybody give Scott a salute because he deserves it. So, very well done. Very well done. All right. So let's go ahead and remove that. Yep, Kerry Rhodes. Always liked him, but man, Rex Ryan torched him in that book. Torched him in his autobiography. Woo! Selfish ass player, he called him. Man, he was harsh on Kerry Rhodes. Okay, so let's go. He's the only man we can remember from Louisville. I think Craig Hentrick, the punter, was another one. Browning Nagel, and that's about all I would remember also. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the edge rushers. Okay, so I've got 20 edge rushers to break down. I know it might seem like a lot, but guys, this class is loaded. We're going from the worst draft position to the best draft position. Here we go. Number 20 is George Gums Jr. from Florida. 6'4", 245 pounds, 2.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. This is a late bloomer who has some work to do converting his potential into production. Now, very good attitude, very good work ethic. He has changed from wide receiver to tight end to an edge rusher. Okay, he has been moved all over the place. He's like a Swiss Army knife. Okay, and he actually used to play at Northern Illinois University, a school I know a little bit about because I used to live kind of close to there. Northern Illinois to Florida. So with some additional technique work, he could be a very good run defender and edge rusher. Very tough, very competitive. We don't quite know how high his ceiling is. One thing that I do like, he's increased his arsenal of pass rush moves. Still needs to improve that. So again, 245 pounds. He's not big. He's very raw. He could be a decent backup, I think. But I think you have enough traits and you have a good enough mentality where this could be a day 3 pick. So I could see a decent Sam linebacker, a good strong side linebacker, play against that tight end. So I got a round 6 grade on George Gums Jr. If you're looking for a project, a raw project, sort of like a Quantez Stiggers type of a guy. Different story, but that kind of a mindset. George Gums Jr. is pretty intriguing. 19 is Michael Heldman from Central Michigan. Yes, the only time we will talk about Central Michigan on the show. 6'4", 268 pounds, 32.5-inch arms. His frame is basically maxed out at this point. So as a pass rusher, he generated 53 total pass rushes this year, 12 sacks, 36 hurries, 5 quarterback hits. Against the run, recorded 25 solo tackles, forced 2 fumbles. Very good production, super active hands. He could still get blown off the line a little bit. Needs to work on his technique, needs to work on his balance. That's going to really help him. And obviously, he did play the highest level of competition, being in Central Michigan. Sort of a Nick Herbig type of a guy. I could see that. I've got a round 6 grade on him. If you can work on his footwork, work on some balance, work on some good fundamentals, you got a pretty good rotational piece right here. Number 18, I've got Max Llewellyn from Iowa University, 6'5", 263 pounds. So his career best season was 2025, 6.5 sacks, 9.5 tackles for a loss, 6 pass deflections. His pressure rate, very good, 12.5%. That's top 15 in the entire edge rushing class. Now, his pass rushing, that's his calling card. Very good lateral agility, very fluid, has very good spin moves, very good swipe combinations. He can get around the arc well. I don't know if he's explosive enough to, do it in the NFL to really be a true difference maker. He doesn't really have the raw power to supplement that finesse. And even though he plays good, he has a good motor in run defense, but his play strength is not quite there to where he can hold up very well as a run defender. So not a very good run defender. He might just be a quality rotational presence with a pass rush upside, but could be a low-level starter at his peak. You use him in the right spot, could work out. So I got a round 5 grade on Max Llewellyn. Number 17, Jaishwan Barham from Michigan. We're going to talk about Michigan a bit here upcoming. Number of Michigan schools. 6'3", 243 pounds. This year, 4 sacks, ran a 4.6440, so he's got some speed. Now, in 2024, Barham was an off-ball linebacker. 2025 is when he became an edge defender, and he flashed some promise. Double-digit tackles for a loss in addition to his 4 sacks. His biggest issues, situational awareness, is still very raw in his role. His discipline is not quite there. He has to be a little bit more patient. But what you love about him, super, super explosive, very good reaction ability, flexible in the ankles. He can bend well. And he could turn the speed into power very, very quickly. Okay, so great power, great pop at contact. He can control blocks. He can shed blocks well. So I think it's a situation where he needs to build up his arsenal a little bit more, get more reps as a pure edge rusher, because right now he's relying on his physical ability. And in the NFL, it is very tough to be a great edge rusher when you are focusing again and again on your physical skills. You need more than that. So it might take a year or two for him to really unlock that potential, but in the right environment, I think he can become an absolute catalyst. Attacking downhill, I think he could really do it. So I've got a round 5 grade on Jyshuan Barham. Let's go to 16. Romello Height from Texas Tech. And yes, that's his real name. 6'3", 240 pounds. Played for 4 schools in 6 years. Man, that's like me going through like college roommates and stuff. 10 sacks, 11.5 tackles for a loss, a pressure rate of 17.4%. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. So this was the year he really started to realize the potential a lot of people saw. He's got 32-inch arms, so that's not very long, but he compensates with his explosiveness, very, very quick. He can run very well, long speed, short speed, and he is going to present a big challenge for tackles who are trying to just block him one-on-one. He's very smart, takes good angles, can counter very fast. He has chops, swipes, swims, dips. He's got a nice pass rush arsenal too. Where he's lacking is his size. The power is not great. Even with the speed off the edge, he could get rerouted by larger blockers. So the size deficiency, it's also going to limit his ability to really set the edge against the run. And again, only one really productive season to his name. But if you're looking at a wide alignment pass rusher with a relentless motor, this is somebody you could really want. So Romello Height, I've got a round 4 grade on. I could see like Tennessee or San Francisco taking him because they played that style of defense. All right. So that's number 16. Number 15, we go back to Ann Arbor to Derek Moore from the University of Michigan. 6'3", 260 pounds. And guys, if you have any thoughts on any of these prospects, please put some comments in there. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. I'd love to get your opinions. So 10 sacks, 10.5 tackles for a loss, was rated super high coming out of high school. He kind of like Height. He really started to emerge this season. He has an impressive first step, long track explosiveness off the line. His arms are over 34 inches, which is great. Very physical framework allows him to get leverage very well. Also kind of a hot motor defender, reliable converter at the point of tackling. And he's returned into a very good edge setter, something we know the Jets have lacked recently. Now, his pass rush production might not be totally translatable to the NFL. He was very reliant on his physical tools, again, kind of like Romello Height. And sometimes he needs a pass rush plan past using his power. Okay, so if he gets a little bit more refinement, then we have something. A little more discipline against misdirections would help too. He has the ability to make a good impact as a starter. And I've got a round 4 grade on Derek Moore. Number 14, Joshua Josephs from Tennessee. I've seen some people put him in their top 5. There's some people who really, really like him. Now, he could contend well in run defense, has over 34-inch arms, wraps up tackles quite well at times. But what I like the most is he can get leverage well, load that base well. His run defense is probably what his best trait is. He keeps tackles on their toes because he's athletic. He has those long arms, and he had just good upper to lower body synergy is what I would say. Now, his pass rush production has not quite been what we would want. And his raw strength, especially down low, it makes him a little bit susceptible against larger opponents. And considering he has a wingspan of 84 inches, he's missed a few too many tackles. So I want more consistency there with the tackling. But quality run defense, raw tools, natural leverage ability, I could see him starting in sort of a 3-4. I think he'd be more suited to a 3-4 role up front. But again, needs to improve that lower body strength before he can really be a two-face starter against both the run and the pass. But I've got a round 4 grade on Joshua Josephs. Number 13 is going to be L.T. Overton from Alabama. This is somebody that the Jets have been connected with a little bit. 6'3", 278 pounds. He had a 9.7% stop rate. That was among the highest in the position in 2025. and an 18.4% pass rush win rate on true pass sets. He has a relentless pursuit to the football. Alabama moved him all around their defense, inside, outside. He played 2/3 of his snap on the edge and the other third inside. He even played 8 snaps at nose tackle. So Overton is sort of that Swiss Army knife. If Aaron Glenn and Brian Duker and Carl Dunbar want versatile defensive linemen, LT Overton might be that guy. Now, the concern is his pass rush ceiling. He had only 24 total pressures and 4 sacks on over 250 pass rush snaps in 2025. Not so good, but the run-stopping ability was clearly there. Though, like I said, 20 run stops, 5th amongst SEC edge defenders. So 34-inch arms, great lateral burst. He can really produce as a power-focused defensive end. So I see some hope with him. But now he's got to develop his pass rush arsenal and produce more consistently. So another player I could see moving into the rotations pretty quickly. I've got a round 3 grade on LT Overton. That frame, that physical profile, somebody's going to take a chance on him. I think late day 2, if not early day 3. Number 12, Donnie Dennis Sutton from Penn State University, 6'5", 270 pounds, 8.5 sacks, 12 tackles for a loss. This is a playmaker. 7 forced fumbles over 3 seasons. That's a good decade for the Jets. But with 34-inch arms, 6'5", 270, he gives you great frame density and length to go with very good explosiveness, raw power. He has just an urgency that I really, really like. His fluidity is a bit of a concern. He doesn't really have the hip bend, the ankle mobility to make quick transitions, and he doesn't really have a consistent pass rush plan. But I think he's a good enough athlete to make it in the NFL. Very high running motor, very good power. And when you combine all of that, especially in run defense, I think he's going to be a very good player. Maybe they could combine him and Will McDonald. Overton and McDonald? Yeah, there's a number of players I'd like to combine with. Yeah, either Josephs or Overton plus McDonald would be very nice. I wouldn't mind that. All right, number 11. I'm going to bring up a player that some of the beat writers have mentioned as a possible sleeper for the Jets, and it's Malachi Lawrence from the University of Central Florida, 6'4", 265 pounds, 7 tackles, 11 tackles for a loss, dominated the combine. A 4.52 40-yard dash, a 40-inch vertical, great pure traits. He gives you good size, very good athleticism. And he's pretty explosive, agile off the snap, but at the same time has good lateral movement to, offset counter attacks. And he has enough power to drive through blockers when his body is aligned properly. So also I like his pass rush arsenal. Long arms, he can bull rush, he can do push pulls, he can stack, he can do spin moves. His physical profile may not be the best ever, and his run defense could be a little bit more refined. But if he adds a little bit of mass onto the 265, I think he's going to be a good starter, particularly as a 2-point stance player in odd front schemes and 3-4 defenses and hybrid schemes as well. So he's a pass rusher first with very good speed. Run defense is in the work. Missed tackles need to be cleaned up. I see a 3-4 edge rusher here. So I've got a round 2 grade on Lawrence. Let's get to the top 10. R. Mason Thomas from Oklahoma University. I've seen some recent drafts where he is projected to go in the first round. I've seen the Patriots taking him at 31 in some mocks. Very interesting. 6'2", 249 pounds from Oklahoma, 6.5 sacks. There's been a lot of comparisons with R. Mason Thomas and a former Oklahoma Sooner who's become a pretty decent pro by the name of Nick Bonito. You might, if you're an NFL fan, you know who Nick Bonito is over in Denver. Both players a little bit undersized at the edge position, but thrive because they have elite burst, bend, and quickness. And Thomas is going to give that to you. Now, in truth, he has a lot of work to do before he gets to the level of Bonito, but he's very quick off the line, an elite first step. He has natural leverage, hip flexibility, ankle flexibility to turn the corner while keeping his speed. He keeps that motor running high, and with his lower body action, he can he really closes in on quarterbacks quickly. Now he does have short arms under 32 inches, so he can get moved off the line and run defense, and that's a concern. He might be designated to be a pass rushing specialist. But in that role, when you include his speed, his motor, his disruptiveness, he's going to aggravate a whole lot of opposing offenses. I've got a round 2 grade on R. Mason Thomas. Number 9 is Gabe Yakus. This was another sleeper that I heard about for the Jets from Illinois, 6'3", 275 pounds. This is a big man right here. 11 sacks, 13 and a half tackles for a loss. And he had a good second half, got better as the year went on. So for a lot of his career, he was used in a 2-point stance at outside linebacker. But his strength and leverage suggests he might be even better as a 3-point defensive end in a 3-4 or 4-3 front. He's big. He's jacked. He's basically carved out of granite. Very, very young, very, very muscular. And I like that he has a background in amateur wrestling, because with wrestling, you learn leverage. You learn how to use your hips. Your feet have to be, you have to move your feet right. So I like wrestling backgrounds for offensive linemen. So he is very well-rounded, but the ceiling, I don't know if he has a lot of elite top-end traits. And I heard Dom C describe him this way, sort of the bull in the china shop. He can get a little bit reckless, needs to learn a little more technique in the NFL, learn a little bit more patience, but he's explosive, he's strong, he could operate as a good 2-phase player and a 3-down presence. That could really happen. So I think Gabe Yakus could come into the NFL and start pretty much immediately. I've got a round 2 grade on him. You notice how many round 1 and round 2 grades I've got on these edge rushers? This class, guys, it's loaded. It's really loaded. Number 8, Cassius Howell from Texas A&M, 6'2", 253 pounds, 11 and a half sacks, 14 tackles for a loss. This is one of the more polarizing prospects. I see we got a bunch of people that just dropped in. Welcome, new folks. Feel free to leave a comment. Appreciate everybody stopping in. We're breaking down top 20 edge rushers in this year's NFL draft. And if you're just joining us, we already did top 10 quarterbacks, and we did the trivia as well. So feel free to go back and check those out later. So Cassius Howell, Texas A&M. All right. He reminds me a little bit of Will McDonald. I'm going to tell you why. He gets sacks, but he gets them in bunches. Okay? He's not the longest. He's not the heaviest, but he's very fluid, accelerates very quickly, has a good, instinct for attacking, and that makes it very difficult on offensive linemen. He has a good swim move. He has a number of good moves. He's a very good technician when it comes to rushing the passer. Now, here are the concerns. His arms are ridiculously short, 30 1/4 inches. I mean, my arms are like 33, and I'm like, how are his arms that short? I don't know. But he does struggle to displace blockers because of that. Again, 6'2", 253. I don't know if he's going to be immensely large tackles. It's really going to be about his speed and about his flexibility and his motor. Okay, and his run defense next to non-existent. So to me, this is almost like a poor man's David Bailey. Oh, one went to Texas A&M, one went to Texas Tech. Yeah, I see a little bit of David Bailey and Cassius Howell. So you want to use him wide alignment, odd rush linebacker roles. But in that role, he's used correctly, he can thrive. So with that motor, with his upside, he could work out very, very well. Or if he's in the wrong spot, he could be a very big disappointment. So let's see what he becomes. Let's go to number 7. It's Keldrick Falk from Auburn, 6'6", 276, 2 sacks this year. The regular comparison that I've seen with Keldrick Falk is Michael Williams, who was drafted last year. What Falk gives you is elite power, elite raw strength, and very good pursuit speed. He could be a nightmare in theory, but the fact that he is not the greatest pass rusher in this class, that's caused a little bit of debate about where he's going to go in this draft. Now, he flashed exciting growth as a pass rusher. In 2024, 7 sacks, 11 tackles for a loss. That production stagnated in 2025. His run defense remained pretty elite, though. He can set a very firm edge with his explosion, his length, his ability to get leverage. All of that is very intriguing. But his pass rush plan and his counters are very inconsistent. They need a good amount of help. All right. So I see a very high upside with him. But the pass rushing is what needs to get to another level. Also, he needs to get a little bit lower with his pad level. So the hope is that his whole arsenal would kind of come together this season. I don't think it really took place. But as a run defender, he will be good. So, again, he's only 21 years old. I just don't think he's quite there to be the level of the player I would want to take in round 1. I think somebody will take him late round 1. I'm just not quite that sold on him. All right, and then these next 6 players, I've got first-round grades on all of them. Number 6, T.J. Parker from Clemson. 6'3", 260 pounds, 5 sacks. This is a powerful edge defender with legitimate NFL length. In 2024, he was amazing. 11 sacks, 6 forced fumbles. Took a little bit of a step back this year, but then again, if we're honest with Clemson, the whole team took a step back. We talked about Cade Klubnik. Peter Woods wasn't as good as a lot of people thought he would be. Antonio Williams, a wide receiver, got hurt. It was a bad season for Clemson all around. So some of the things about Parker, very good hand usage. He strikes quickly to set very firm edges, and then he sheds the block quickly to finish a tackle. It's very hard to fool him. He diagnoses plays very, very well. He showed up against South Carolina, which is Clemson's biggest game every year. Also had a good Senior Bowl. If I had to find a knock, his short area burst kind of limits his ability to pursue the run in space and threaten tackles. So that is not as good as you would ideally like it to be. Okay. He can long arm tackles in the pocket when he catches the ball carrier right, but when the approach stalls, not quite as good. So his short area burst and finishing off tackles that's what needs to get a little bit of improvement. I see a little bit of Bradley Chubb in his game, actually. I think he's an above average pass rushing starter. So, again, more of a one-phase guy, but he does that one phase really, really well. Look who's here, Jets Chaos. How you doing, old brother? Hope you're doing well out there in Sacramento. Rusty. Where the heck is Rusty? If ever there was a night for Rusty to be here, tonight's the night. Yeah. All right. Yep. So TJ Parker, I've got him ranked as my number 6 edge rusher. And again, I got a first-round grade on him. I actually watched the SNY mock draft where Connor Hughes and Zach Rosenblatt brought in a bunch of beat writers from all around the league to project their first-round picks. And I think they took 8 edge rushers combined. It was nuts. I'm pretty sure it was 8. Yeah, Parker went, Falk went, and Howell went. Yeah, and our Mason Thomas went too. So it was 9 edge rushers that went in that first round. That's how dynamic this class is, folks. All right, let's go on to our top 5. You make the top 5 in this list, you've really done it. Number 5, Akeem Mesidor from Miami, 6'3", a very heavy 280 pounds, and a very successful output this year. 12.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles. He's a little bit older. He's turning 25 years old this month. Transferred to the University of Miami from West Virginia, where he dealt with some injury issues. He was nearly unblockable in the playoffs this year. And you got to love players who show out in the biggest games. He's quick. He's explosive. He's got a lean and compact profile, and he knows how to realign his feet and his hips to maximize his force and how to drive back an offensive lineman. And in the passing game, you could use him on stunts. He can win one-on-one. He's got a good swim move. He can power rush. He can counter, and he plays the run well. Again, gets leverage very nicely, has good instincts with staying in his gap. Now, he can get a little bit reckless too, a little bit like a Gabe Yakas, sort of that bull in the china shop mindset. Can get a little bit out of control, but you know what? I'd rather have to coach a player down than coach him up, But I think Mesidor right away is going to come in and bolster an NFL defensive line. Even if it's only in a rotation mode, I think he could play from very early on and be a very valuable contributor. He's got the tools. He's got the temperament to be an impact starter very quickly. And again, he's turning 25 years old actually this month. So he better produce quickly. But I got a round 1 grade on Akeem Mesidor. Jets Chaos. This year may not have the perfect blue chip edge prospect, but it's deep in the position, and I feel like there will be 3 to 5 that make a real impact. I think there'll be even more that make an impact in due time. It's just there's a lot of very good specialists in this class. But when you have somebody who plays both the run and the pass really, really well, yeah, you get really excited about that. Now, my number 4 is somebody who has really climbed up my board. This has been a real riser for me. And this is somebody I really hope makes it out of round 1 and that the Jets have a chance to draft. And it's Zion Young from Missouri. 6'5", 265 pounds, 6.5 sacks, 16.5 tackles for a loss last year. That's crazy productive. Looked great at the Senior Bowl. He's got that perfect combination of lateral movement, explosiveness, lean mass, proportional length. His eye discipline against the run is outstanding. Great hand strength. All of that is fantastic. Very impressive motor, too. He plays all the way through the whistle. Plays the run very effectively also. Gets initial leverage, resets the point, can stay engaged. And then as a pass rusher, he's got the raw tools that, the athleticism, the length, the strength, all of it. Now, where does he need a little bit of growth? He could use a little bit of help when it comes to counters. If the first move doesn't work, the second move tends to not work quite as well. And he did have a DWI arrest this past December. You got to do your due diligence on that. But Young is an up-and-coming talent with the raw ability and the mindset to become a really top-level player in my mind. I am a big, big fan of Zion Young. All right. Now we get to the top three. Hey, Billy, how you doing? Hope you're having a great week. Yep, you're late, but you know what? You can always rewind. Yeah, we've been going an hour 15. Yep, just to let you know, we did the top 10 quarterbacks. Actually, I did 12 quarterbacks. And we did already do the trivia just because we're doing so much breakdown of draft prospects. I decided to throw the trivia in the middle of it just to break it up a little bit. But I appreciate you coming down for sure. All right, now we've got three left, and it's going to be the three that most people are thinking would be in the top three. How do I have them ranked? Well, number 3, I've got Ruben Bain Jr. from Miami. 6'3", 275 pounds, 9.5 sacks, 13 tackles for a loss, 83 pressures, and he played 897 snaps this season. Insanely high. This is a complete player in my mind. He's got that rare body type for the position. He's very compact. He's massive. He gets great leverage. He's got very good acceleration, elite hand power. He's coached by Jason Taylor. You got to love that, right? Wouldn't it be great if the Jets were to get Jason Taylor's, his kid, and then one of his students? That'd be amazing. But Bain gives you great power, raw strength. He will roll right through tackles. He can overwhelm one-on-one as a pass rusher, but he's sturdy enough to absorb combo blocks in the run game. Sets an edge very consistently. So even though his power is his calling card, he has a deep pass rushing tool set, great synergy between his upper and lower body, very intelligent and still flexible also. Now, the short arm situation that people talk about, it's real. 30 and 7/8 inches. There are some players that I've talked about with shorter arms than that, but still, it makes tackling and wrapping up very challenging. He's a good athlete. He's not an elite athlete. I think he may be most suited to play a 4-3 as opposed to a 3-4, but I think he's going to go top 10. And that 8 to 10 range makes a lot of sense for Ruben Bain. H&H Bagels in North Carolina, Bill. It's funny. I think the nearest one to me is I think there's one in Wake Forest, but that's about 30 to 40 minutes away. And unfortunately, it's the exact opposite direction of how I go to work. But I actually do follow H&H on Instagram. I've just never had a chance to try their bagels. But I heard they were going to open in Raleigh, but it has not happened just yet. They are in Chapel Hill. I know there's one really good. See, I'll check after the show. No, I'm not. No. H Bagels. Because I heard they were going to open in Raleigh, but then they never did. Yeah, they are in Chapel Hill. Okay. All right. Oh, I know there's another really, really top-level bagel shop over there, but H&H is, definitely one that I want to try. All right, so I'm checking out the zip code. Yeah, it looks like it's just Chapel Hill. Okay. And the funny thing, I got a 4-mile race in Chapel Hill this Saturday. Oh, Billy, I'm going to get to. Yeah, we actually did talk about David Bailey. Yeah, it was actually conflicting information because I read one report on Jets X Factor that we went through this list a little bit earlier. The Jets had already brought in David Bailey for a top 30 visit, and then about 6:15 tonight, Connor Hughes says it was scheduled, but it got canceled. And the question is, how do we as Jet fans interpret that news? And it's very tricky on how we do that because it could mean the Jets don't need to meet with David Bailey because they know that's who they want, or it could mean that they've already made up their mind that Arvell Reese is their guy and there's no need to explore the matter any further. One is coming to the RDU airport. Hey, I'll go through security for a great bagel and pay to park. I'll be heading to RDU actually in a couple of hours. My mom's actually getting home from Asia. She's been away for 3 weeks, like Singapore, Hong Kong, Cambodia, South Korea, Vietnam. Yeah, 3 weeks away. So I'm going to pick her up at the airport. And unfortunately, she's not landing until about midnight. So I got to, this is not going to be easy. Staying awake for, staying awake, staying alert. Not sure what I'm going to do. But I have to, I got to go pick her up later on tonight. So. All right. Yeah. So but H&H Bagels is definitely on my radar, no question about it. And the fact that I'll be in Chapel Hill this Saturday, hey, maybe I'll get like a nice egg, bacon, and cheese post race. Maybe I'll do that. Yep. So so Ruben Bain is my number 3. So number 2. Now we get into David Bailey. Great full reviews. Oops, food reviews. Yeah. Pity the food. I got a couple of nominees for full reviews, but we won't go there. All right. So still got to talk about it. David Bailey, because he'll be on the board for the Jets to draft. Texas Tech, 6'3", 250 pounds, 14.5 sacks, 19.5 tackles for a loss, 81 pressures, had a 4.46 40 that was second best among edge rushers at the combine, has very good proportional length. He is a very lean, incredibly explosive rusher with a first step that basically defies description. Great, super twitchy, great energy. His motor is relentless, and he's got the long speed to beat blockers without too much of an issue. Now, he's got a great spin move. Where have I heard that before? Every time I hear the best move is the spin move, I'm thinking it's Will McDonald, the sequel. Okay, again, not killing Will McDonald. I just don't need a second version of Will McDonald on the New York Jets, okay? But he gives you legitimate speed to power with that acceleration, that compact mass. He can be a little more consistent in his run defense. There's no doubt about that. But he can shed blocks one-on-one when he needs to. And I would like to see him improve his lower body strength a little bit, even if he is just a pass rush specialist. And also, he does take some penalties, as he can get a little bit over-aggressive. But his ability to be a top pass rusher is at the level that very few others are. He is going to be a menace off the edge, but can he build a complete 3-down game? That's what I wonder. Will he take on contact? There's been video where certain times he, doesn't go after the contact, and that scared some people off. I think right now he is an elite pass rush specialist, like a much better version of Bryce Huff. But I still have him going top 5. I don't have him, as my top edge rusher. You can probably imagine who that is going to be. But the upside is incredibly tantalizing. So can David Bailey become that consistent edge rusher considering his size? I don't know. But I think he will give you enough he'll give you enough production to keep you excited and to keep you thinking there's something better ahead. So that's the whole thing with him. So I wanted somebody who I felt was a little bit better all around, and I had to go with Arvell Reese. I am on Team Reese and make no secret of that. 6'4", 245 pounds, 6.5 sacks, 10 tackles for a loss. By no means is that going to be the most productive stats that you have heard me say, but you have to keep in mind, he really had limited opportunities to rush the passer. And he had a 4.46 40 that was tied for the fastest at the combine among all front 7 players. So he still gives you that great speed that Bailey does. He gives you insane athleticism, great length, and an unbelievable amount of strength that Bailey just is not going to give you. Okay, I feel like Bain and Bailey are a little bit more of a specialist where Reese gives you everything. There's nothing you're going to find in him that is a true weakness. And that is hard to find. He gives you the range. He gives you the fluidity where he can be a dangerous rusher. He has enough power to hold up in the passing game. Long arms, explosive edge. You got to love it. I love what I see in him depending on how he's used. And there's the rub. So his power and physicality make me believe he would be a very impressive Sam linebacker. But if anything, he can get a little bit fooled by misdirections. But still, I'm looking deep. Now, some would come back and say he didn't have any sacks in his final 6 games. I would say again, he wasn't really asked to rush the passer all that much. But you look at the raw athletic upside, and the power gives him a very special X factor potential. And for coaches who believe that calling defensive plays is their superpower, not that we know anybody like that, but if there is a coach like that, he's going to want, I believe, that X factor, that joker card, that wild draw 4 card in Uno that he can play anytime he wants. Now, the question is linebacker or edge. I just think you use him wherever he can make the biggest impact. This is the strongest front 7 player in the class. He's still only 21 years old. Keep that in mind. He hasn't peaked out at all. He could get even better than he already is. Maybe he fits better in a 3-4 defense, but I think he could excel in any system. I don't think he gets past, at the very, very least, he goes, I would say, at number 4. If Robert Saleh has a chance to draft him, oh my gosh, he might take his pants off running that card up. I think Arizona would take whoever the Jets don't take between Reese and Bailey. But if somehow Reese slips to 4, it's game, set, match. So that is what I'm thinking as far as the top 20 edge rushers go. All right. Yeah, that was, I knew this would be, that was 32 prospects we broke down, 12 quarterbacks and 20 edge rushers. Crazy. Billy's thinking it's going to be Reese when number 2 comes up. I honestly, I hope so. I really do. Next week, next week's show, by the way, is going to be NFL Draft Eve. We'll talk about, by the way, just to give you an idea, some sleepers. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my ideal draft. And I think next week I'm going to do my one and only mock draft. I know some people love to do mock drafts constantly. I'm just going to do one mock. Maybe we'll have a trade that breaks between now and then. You never know. So I'm just going to do one mock draft. It's funny. I do about 35 NCAA brackets, and most of them usually suck. But I'm going to do only one mock draft for the NFL. Yeah, so I'm thinking Reese. I have certain thoughts on 16, for instance. I know Omar Cooper is rising up the boards, and to be honest, I'm worried that he's rising up too fast. I like Omar Cooper. I think Omar Cooper can be a good starter. I don't see elite traits in him. And here, I don't like that Omar Cooper will be playing inside most of the time. I like Garrett being able to move Garrett Wilson around. I want other players to adjust around Garrett Wilson. I don't want Garrett Wilson adjusting to other players, because I don't know. I'm not a huge Omar Cooper fan. Second round, yeah, fine if the first 3 are gone. But, when I did my wide receiver rankings, I had him, I think, number 6 or 7. I don't look at him as the clear number 4. I've even seen some people say they would take Cooper over Tyson, to which I say, if you look at just the raw traits, the raw ability, I can't see how Cooper is better. The only reason that you would have pause on that is because of Tyson's injury history. And I understand that as a Jets fan being concerned. I get it. But I put Boston, Concepcion, and Chris Bell over Omar Cooper. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I'm not afraid to put my takes out there. I'm actually a big Chris Bell fan. If the Jets get through the first round, don't have a wide receiver, I would be very happy if they took Bell. I do the banjo every time with Chris Banjo. If they draft Chris Bell, I'll have to get a bell chime and just play that every time I say the name. Oh gosh, here we go. But Jets Chaos is gonna go Reese's peanut butter cups for every snack. I'll tell you. I'm not a chocolate guy, but I might have to find another. Another Reese's flavor. By the way, guys, please hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. The likes mean a whole heck of a lot. Definitely appreciate it. I got to see this. Reese's flavors. Outrageous caramel pieces. Actually, peanut butter lovers. Maybe I would do that one. Peanut butter filled cups. Wait, fruity, chewy, and refreshing. Oh, that's where you get to Jolly Rancher, Twizzlers, all that kind of stuff. Okay, because I'm on the Hershey website. Okay. Yeah, because I'm not a candy. Wait, Reese's Oreos? I could deal with Oreos. A little bit of crisp chocolate, a touch of crisp chocolate. I could deal with it, but that's all I could really do. Like, I'll have an Oreo, but I'm not going to go out if they're there, but I'm not going to buy Oreos. Yeah, I don't know. I would try one. I wouldn't buy a whole bag of them, but yeah, I need a non-chocolate option really to really see if I'm a fan of that. But yeah, any other ones? I don't know. Reese's Fill Pretzels, are those just Reese? Wait, oh, Reese's makes peanut butter pretzels? Really? Oh, outstanding. You know what? That's going to be my go-to. If the Jets draft Orville Reese, I will have to get some of these Reese's peanut butter pretzels. That would be my go-to snack. So I will do the peanut butter pretzels and do them and eat them with happiness. Billy, will the Jets do something at 16, like trade up for a wide receiver? If they have a wide receiver that they're high enough on, I think they would not be afraid to trade up. I really don't think that. I really don't think they would. My hope is that Mekhi Lemon drops because I don't think Cardinal Tate will drop. Jordan Tyson could. Oh, yeah. You got to hope that maybe like an offensive tackle or a cornerback, those type of guys go early. You know, you really, really do. Because the more these wide receivers drop, the better it's going to be for the Jets. So, but hey, look on the bright side. It could have been way worse. The Jets could have easily been at 20. You know, thank God Indianapolis collapsed the way that they did. We're at 13 likes right now. Guys, if you haven't hit the thumbs up button, we need 2 more thumbs up. And if we get that, we will spin the wheel in just a minute. But I need you all in order to do that. 14 likes. We are 1 away. Somebody out there, yeah, call somebody. Call your wife, your girlfriend, your mother, your father, your son, your daughter, your goldfish, your dog, your cat, your horse, an in-law, an outlaw, somebody for that 15th like, and we will spin the wheel. I'll hang for a minute. I'll hang for a little bit. Hopefully we will. Because I could go for a wheel tonight, guys. I'm not gonna lie. But rules are rules. Billy thinks the Jets will win a minimum 8 games. Okay, Billy. All right, Billy, I know you a little bit. Okay, I just have this weird feeling you trolling right now. Do you really believe that? If you do, God bless you. But I got to see the roster first. I got to see the roster. I got to see the schedule. Scott hit the like button 13 times. Oh, that's right. With your 13 accounts. Danger Zone. How you doing? Yep. I saw you in, I saw you earlier on another show. So Danger's always making the rounds. Yeah, that's why everybody loves Danger, because he supports folks. That's pretty fantastic. All right. Got to answer a quick text here. I hit the like more than my stepdad. All right. Offense is basically set except for wide receiver 2, which they will get in the draft. Defense will be improved. I still would like to upgrade center a little bit. I still do not want Josh Myers as my starting center. I do think the defense will get better as well. I have hope the team will be better. I'm also hoping they will be coached better. There's no doubt the Jets will be a more talented team than they were last year. I don't think there's any doubt they're going to be a better coach team. Yep, I got you, Scott. I don't think there's any doubt they're going to be a better coach team too. But I do expect a little bit of a step back on special teams with Nick Folk no longer there. That's going to be part of it. But I will take a slight step back on special teams to improve significantly on offense and defense. So, all right. Any news? The Blackhawks extended Kyle Davidson. Rangers are up 4-1. Mika Zibanejad with his 34th goal of the season. All right. Cartier scored again. Perot scored. Very nice. All right, guys. I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead. Oh, Danger Zone. Thank you so much. You were invited to the Danger Zone Draft-A-Palooza 3.0. Come whenever and stay how long, however you want, like last year. Dave, what days are you doing it? Are you doing it Thursday? Are you doing it Thursday, Friday, and Saturday? Just to make sure, because I'm going to be watching the draft with the North Carolina Triangle Jet fans.
So I will be going out for the draft, so there'll probably be some noise, but later on, or certainly Friday or Saturday, I can join. All days? Okay, I will do that. Billy, no, the Mets will not suck tonight for a very simple reason. Danhausen has uncursed the Mets. If you don't know what I'm talking about, no problem. You are nice, and now they are no longer cursed. So Danhausen has officially uncursed the Mets. So now they will begin to thrive. They will bomb the Dodgers tonight. They will score, I believe, 4 whole runs tonight. 4 runs. How about it? Okay, guys. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel. So first we're going to, let's see. I'm gonna, as I share my screen. There we go. Very good. Well, Just Chaos, you're always invited here. Yeah, McLean is unbelievable. Yep. I think I may have said this. I live only 20 minutes from where he grew up, from where he played high school baseball. I'm already petitioning for the statue to be erected. Anyway, to get put up there. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the wheel. I'm gonna put myself down here in the corner. There we go. All right, so this is the which wheel. So this will determine which one we are going to spin tonight. So guys, what wheel is it going to be? That's true. Jets Chaos has more important, right? Yeah, Jets Chaos is a couple levels up. All right, we are doing wide receivers tonight. So we are going to pull up the wide receiver Jets wheel. So we are going to do 10. So we got a lot of wide receivers on here as well. All right, so we are going to spin the wheel 10 times, do a blind rank 1 to 10. For anybody who may be new, yep, you're in a danger zone is claiming Devin Smith, and Scott Foster's got Al Toon. Okay. All right, so I'm going to pull up one quick website really quick just to give me a little bit of help. So we're going to spin the wheel 10 times, and we will land on a wide receiver. If we land on the player that you select, you get to put where that player goes. It could go in any empty space on the wheel. And at the end of it, we want to go from 1, the best player, to 10, the worst player. All right, so let's see. Single season leaders. There we go. And I want career leaders as well. All right, here we go, guys. I'm going to give everybody about a minute to pick their players. Will you smoke some Winston-Salem's? You got to work day 1, Jeremy? Okay. Yeah, I'll be working till 6. At least I get off at 5, actually. But by the time I get up there, it's like 6:15. So I'll have some time, go home, eat, get changed, and get ready because the draft doesn't start till 8 o'clock anyway, Easter. So should be fine. Okay. So, yeah, guys, go ahead and pick your player. I'm going to pick Jericho Cotchery. All-time favorite of mine, one of my favorite all-time Jets. Danger's got Devin Smith. Scott's got Al Toon. Jeremy, I'm going to give you a moment. If you'd like to go ahead and select a wide receiver, you may. I know we got a few folks kind of hanging out in the background. You're more than welcome to join in as well. So let's go ahead and do it. Oh, you're going to be in Cary? Nice. Okay, very cool. So you're going to be in my neck of the woods. That's good. Is Devin Smith really on there? If he, I thought I had put him in. I put Denzel. You know what? What the hell? I don't think he is, but you know what? There we go. Spin number 1. Al Toon? Okay. And we are going to win on Elijah Moore. Oh boy. Future Pro Bowler Elijah Moore, as he was announced during the draft. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that was that was not ideal. So Elijah Moore basically has become something of a journeyman around the league. And if we look overall, if we look at his career, I'm going down the list of like most receiving yards in a season. What was the most he would have ever had in a season with the Jets? I can't imagine it was more than like 20. Right? Now it can't be much better.
Yeah, just it did not work out. Oh, here we go. Oh yeah. 2021, he had 43 whole catches. Yeah, I'm gonna pull up his Jet stats here real quick. I gotta do this. So he was with the Jets for 2 seasons, and we know he was not exactly the best guy in the locker room. That's well known. So for his Jet career, 27 games, 80 catches, 984 yards, and 2 whole touchdowns. Be at the far at some point? Yep, we could do that. Yeah, we could do that. Yep, if that's where you want to go, we'll go. Got to save room for some real turds. Remember, WrestleMania is Saturday also, Jeremy. We got to keep that in mind. So, all right, Scott said, yeah, so we're going 8 over there. Yeah, we got some worse ones coming up in a little bit too. But yeah, Moore was definitely a disappointment. If we gone like 9, I wouldn't be offended by it. I really wouldn't. All right, so Elijah Moore. More. How do you like it? How do you like it? More. Okay, we got more Moores on this list, like Rob Moore. All right, let's see who we land on next. Let's go to spin number 2 in 3, 2, 1. Oh boy. And yeah, we land on Devin Smith. Yeah, after spin, animate winning entry. Yep, there we go. Yep. So Devin Smith is where we land. So I guess we know what that means, right? Yeah, danger zone. This is your call. Where are we putting the immortal Devin Smith? Second round pick that did not quite work out. I don't think. Yeah, I think Devin Smith never had a touchdown in his career, right? Pretty sure. Oh boy, this is not the best start. Danger wants to put him right at 10. Just to give you the stats, was with the Jets for 2 seasons, played just like Elijah Moore was, ironically. 31 game. Wait. 14 games is all he. 14 games? Dear God, 10 catches, 135 yards. Somehow had 1 touchdown. I couldn't even remember that he had one. Roman numeral X. All right, Devin Smith. I'm legitimately stunned he ever had a touchdown with us. Yeah, and we got more Smiths on this list who stink too, by the way. All right, Dana, go ahead and change your pickup if you like. If you want to claim another wide receiver, you can. Still better than Corley. Well, yeah, that put Corley. I don't think I put Corley on here. Not yet. Oh, yep, I did. Yep, he's next to Dietrich Ward and Jeremy Curley. All right. Yep. Jets, I know you got Tune. Okay. Yep, I got you. Dave wants Denzel Mims now. Oh my God, we're getting all the crap tonight, guys. Here we go. Spin number 3 in 3, 2, 1. Why don't we get like Chad Hansen next, right? And we land on Robbie Anderson. Okay, so that is who the wheel has chosen. Yep. See what I did there? All right. Well, that's an interesting one. So if you look at the career, he is 15th all time in Jets receiving yards with 3,059. Of course, had that 92-yard touchdown against the Cowboys. Pretty much the highlight of his career. Had 20 receiving touchdowns as a Jet as well. I just felt Anderson was very up and down. You know, he. Wait, I thought Jeremy took Tune from the beginning. Let me go back and check. So, oh, that's right. Okay, so Scott took Altoon. Yeah, Scott took Altoon. So yeah, Jeremy, if you like, and then so you both took Altoon. Jeremy, if you could switch it up, go if you could, that'd be good. Yeah, because Scott claimed him. All right, Scott wants Wesley Walker. I got you. All right. So to me, Robbie Anderson, pretty average, all things considered. Dane's going 5. Yep, Tune and Walker were such a great pair. You can't have one without the other. Very, very true.
All right, so Walker. So we have Walker, we have Tune, Devin Smith, and I have Jericho Cotchery. Okay. Tune and Walker. All right. So I see 5 is in the lead for Robbie Anderson. Anybody want to change that one up? I think it's pretty appropriate. Again, just a very up and down player, was very spectacular, but for a long time, all he could really do was go deep. And you always felt there was just another level for him. I don't know. So the only spots you've taken are spots 8 and 10. All the other spots are available. Time to pick the wheel up. All right. I got you. All right. You know what? I'm good with 5. All right. So Robbie A. So we'll go 5 there. Okay. Hey, I don't have to be at the airport for another 3.5 hours. I got nothing but time tonight. Okay, here we go. Spin number 4. 3, 2, 1. Dane's got 5 minutes. Okay. I got you guys. I'll roll. All right. I'm with it. And we land on Keyshawn Johnson, the only player the Jets have taken number 1 in the common draft. Was here, I believe, 4 years. Of course, had a fantastic playoff game against Jacksonville. Maybe never quite became the player that we would have wanted him to, but definitely a very, very good wide receiver. No doubt about it. Not the greatest attitude, and went on and won a Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. All right, guys, where are we putting Keyshawn? Jeremy wants to go top of the list, number 1. Dame wants to go number 2. I go a little bit, maybe a bit, either 3 or 4, just a touch lower than that. Scott, I'll let you. Oh, I see we got a few more people hopping into the chat. Welcome, new folks. We are doing the Jets wide receiver wheel. So far, we got a number 10, Devin Smith, number 8, Elijah Moore, and number 5, Robbie Anderson. And now we have Keyshawn Johnson. So we got to figure out where on this blind list we got to put Keyshawn. All right. I see 1, I see 3 as well. I'm kind of feeling the same thing. I think we're going to do a little bit better than him. I really do. I'm going to go number 3. Okay, here we go. Let's keep going. Spin number 5 in 3, 2, 1. Oh, I think this one's mine. I think it's mine. Yes! Jericho Cotchery, number 89, one of the toughest SOBs the Jets ever had, especially when you're talking about wide receivers. 18 career touchdowns. It's 17th on the Jets all-time list. Not way up there, but 9th all-time in receiving yards with 4,514. One of the best mid-round picks the Jets ever had. My only debate here is, do I put him above Keyshawn or below Keyshawn? Like, Keyshawn was more spectacular, but Jericho was more steady. He was with the Jets from 2004 to 2010. And, I think the Jets, they had a little more playoff success with him there. I think that, yes, I did. I raised my hands. And don't tell me you wouldn't do the same thing. All right. Yeah. So, he didn't have a touchdown till his 3rd season. Then he started to do pretty well in that sense. But, yeah, great hands. Always make sure you save room for Derek Mason. We're landing on Derek Mason. There's no way around. We land on Derek Mason constantly. Guys, I'm going number 2 for Jericho. I am. And if that comes back to bite us, you know what? I'll take the blame. But when you talk about underrated popular Jets, I mean, he is right up there with any of them. All right, so I got to change my pick. I'm going to go on the wheel. Who am I going to go with? I'm going to go. What the hell? I'm going to go Derek Mason. Why wouldn't I go Derek Mason after this point, since he came right after Jericho Cotchery? What a disaster that was. Okay, here we go. We're halfway through the wheel. We've got Jericho at 2, Keyshawn at 3, Robbie Anderson at 5, Elijah Moore at 8, Devin Smith at 10. So we got spots 1, 4, 6, 7, and 9 left. Here we go. And spin number 6. It comes to a stop on. Are we going back to Keyshawn? It is. So we respin. All right, so this is an interesting one. Brandon Marshall, as many of us know, had one of the best single seasons that a Jet wide receiver ever had in 2015. Cleared 1,000 yards. If this webpage will work for me. Okay, there we go. 109 receptions. That's the most by any Jet in any season ever. Can you imagine? Only Brandon Marshall and Garrett Wilson have 100 catches in a season for the Jets. He had 14 touchdowns in 2015 as well. That's tied for the most in Jets history for a single season. But the truth is, it was that one season, and that was basically the end of it. I mean, he was basically never heard from again. He's still only 27th in career receiving yardage. So to me, I would go upper tier with Brandon Marshall, but I got to go towards the bottom. I can't put him above Jericho and Keyshawn, because longevity does mean something. His second season, it was 59 catches, 788 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So first year, he was second team All-Pro. So I'm thinking spot number 4 for Brandon Marshall is pretty fitting. Dane seems to agree. Okay. So, guys, I'm thinking 4. You could go 1. You could go 6. Anybody wants to switch it up? Anyone wants to vote something different? Let me know. So, yeah, 4-1 Rangers. Very good. Not that it matters. All right, I'm going to go with a 4 for Brandon Marshall. All right. All right, now we go to spin number 7. We've got spots 1, 6, 7, and 9. I feel pretty good about this list so far. I got to say, we've had some very good wide receivers so far. Here we go. Spin number 7 in 3, 2, 1. We got plenty of lousy ones left, folks. And speaking of which, Chad Hansen. Yeah, the 4th Hansen brother, and he bopped his way pretty much right out of here. Played great when the pads weren't on, pretty much. Fantastic in preseason, fantastic in training camp. Was never the same. 4th round pick in 2017. And in his Jets career, he was there one season, 15 games, 9 catches, 94 yards, no touchdowns. And that was it. So, guys, I'm going to ask you 6, 7, or 9 for Chad Hansen, because we know he ain't number 1. Like, would you put him above Elijah Moore, below Elijah Moore? Because Elijah Moore is at 8. Yeah, I got to be honest. I think I would honestly put Chad Hansen in the 9th spot. I put him right down there with Devin Smith. He might even be worse than Devin Smith. Really. At least Devin Smith had a touchdown. Devin Smith was a higher draft pick, but still. All right. Yep. Looks like we're in agreement. All right. Chad Hansen, number 9. There we go. We got spots 1, 6, and 7 left. All right. Here we go. Spin number 8 coming up in 3, 2, 1. So we want like 2 decent receivers and 1 great wide receiver. That's what we're looking for. And we land on Curtis Conway. Now, as I remember, Curtis Conway came in basically to replace Lavernius Coles when the Redskins signed him away. Oh, I said Redskins. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm gonna get knocked by YouTube. So did Curtis Conway do anything even decent with this team? I honestly can't remember one play. I can't remember anything that he ever did. Like, seriously, I'm looking up his stats. All right, so Curtis Conway is either going to be number 6 or number 7. In between Robbie Anderson and Elijah Moore. Yeah, I'm going to check his Jet stats real quick. I'm pulling him up right now. Let's see. All right, so Curtis Conway was with the Jets for just 1 year. He was already 32 years old. 16 games, 46 catches for 640 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, pretty. Yeah, they were the Redskins back then. It's just reality. Have you seen the new uniform with the arrow going through the W? I mean, tell me you're the Redskins without saying you're the Redskins. They're trying to get as close to the Redskins as they can without the name and without the Indian head. That's the truth. All right, Curtis Conway, I got to go 7 with him. I'm thinking Scott Foster is saying 7 also. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, 1 year, just not very good. I mean, I can live with this as it is right now. Okay, I'm good with it. All right, Curtis Conway gets number 7. Yep, they will always be the Skins to me. I hear you, buddy. Okay, 2 spins left. We got to fill in spot number 1 and spot number 6. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. And we land on, oh, dear God, Stephen Hill. I'll tell you what, if the Jets are playing the Buffalo Bills, this is not bad. This is not bad. I'm not kidding. I know he was a second round absolute disaster. But against Buffalo, all right, I know Stephen Hill is going to go in spot number 6, but I got to pull the stats up. If I can find him, I know I'm going to find him somewhere. Okay, Stephen Hill. Here we go. All right, number 11. I get it, man. I get it. I'll still take him over Devin Smith. So Stephen Hill was with the Jets for 2 years. Let's see. 145 catches on 106 targets, 594 yards, but he had 4 touchdowns. I mean, I feel like numbers 6 through 10, you can put them all up in a jar, shake them up, and whatever order they come out, they come out. I'm not even offended by this. I'm really not. 4 touchdowns. That's more than any of the other ones had. So, oh gosh, I had such high hopes for him. I got him. That was one pick. I kind of knew who he was a little bit. I wasn't really, looking at draft prospects then like I tried to now. But he did the Jets chant like from the stage. I decided I love this guy. Oh my God. He was like the Kaz Matsui of the Jets. Had like 2 good games, and other than that, he was a nightmare. All right, Stephen Hill goes in at 6. And we got 1 spin left. And guys, we got to hit it out of the park. We got to do better than Robbie, Brandon, Keyshawn, or Jericho. We could do this. We can do this. Here we go. 1 spin left. Right? There we go. Yeah, 6, Hill. 7, Conway. All right. Okay, so just to recap, number 10, Devin Smith. Number 9, Chad Hansen. Number 8, Elijah Moore. Number 7, Curtis Conway. Number 6, Stephen Hill. Number 5, Robbie Anderson. Number 4, Brandon Marshall. Number 3, Keyshawn Johnson. Number 2, Jericho Cotchery. Guys, it is time for 1 final spin in 3, 2, 1. Who takes the top spot on our wheel? I'm not even going to look. Well, it can't be Devin Smith. He's already number 10. Respin. Although that would have only been fitting, wouldn't it? Oh, can we get it? Can we get it? Not quite. Derek Gaffney. Well, you know what? Gaffney was a good Jet for a while. I got to pull the stats up here, but yeah, but he's going to slide into the number 1 spot. What was the most touchdowns he had in the season? I gotta pull this. I gotta pull his stats up on this one. So he was in the NFL from 1978 to 1987. Played only for the Jets, so he had a long run there. Was there from 78 to 84 and again in 87. Never had more than 3 touchdowns in a season. Never hit 700 yards in a season. He was a compiler, is kind of what he was, just a pure compiler. But for his career, 8 seasons, 156 catches, 2,613 yards, 7 touchdowns. I mean, to me, this is a receiver, kind of middle of the line. I think ideally I would put him around 5, right around the Robbie Anderson level, is what I would do. Okay, talk to you later. All right, Jerry, thanks for coming by. Appreciate it. All right. Be well. All right, guys, everybody, I got to tell you, unfortunately, as I'm going to stop sharing, when you have Derek Gaffney as your number one wide receiver on this list, there's only one thing to say. That's a loss. But I'd tell you what wasn't a loss. This show tonight, guys, thanks so much for hanging with me tonight. I had a fantastic time. Hope you did too. So next week is our final draft preview. We'll do a mock. I'll talk about players I want to see the Jets pick at different spots. We'll talk about maybe some sleepers, the latest news that's coming out. Who knows what's going to happen? Guys, it's going to be a fun show. Have a great rest of your week. Just 8 nights left to go. We're almost there, and I will see you all right back here with more content next week from you know where. The Wicker Chair. Good night, everybody.